What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another Manchester City video. Still pretty quiet out there during the international break, which, if there's no drama involving Manchester City, is always good news, which means we can sit down and talk about transfers as we head in towards the January transfer window. So before I do crack on with this video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Remember, going to be doing daily Manchester City transfer updates from January 1st throughout the whole month of January to keep you guys up to date through the January winter transfer window. It is free to subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorship for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. 200 likes is the aim, and do let me know your thoughts as well in the comments below. Finally, I want to say a big thank you to Football Prizes, today's video sponsor, where you can go and check out a signed Manchester City shirt from Phil Foden. There's also 15 instant prizes to be won, including the chance to win a signed Manchester City shirt from Ruben Diaz and a signed framed Manchester City shirt from Manchester City Brazilian young winger Savinho as well. So do go and check that out. Links and details, they are in the description. So we're going to crack on with this video. We're going to start off with the ins because we've got no contract news, we've got no out news, and we've got the very latest on Manchester City's new sporting director or director of football, Hugo Viana. Now, O Jogo over in Portugal have said that despite rumours that Hugo Viana could help Manchester City out in the January transfer window and could join the club as soon as February, the plan is that Hugo Viana is going to remain as sporting director at Sporting Club de Portugal until the end of the season. That's in June. Then he will join up with Manchester City in June and become the new sporting director once Chicky leaves the club. Now, if his contract works like how all the other members of staff at Manchester City and also the players as well, then I'm going to presume that Chicky's going to walk away from Manchester City on June 30th of 2025, which is when I would expect Hugo Viana to already be settled in. Now, I imagine once the season does end for Sporting CP is when Hugo Viana would be interested in potentially going to Manchester and just trying to iron out any little bits of details ahead of the summer window. So it is going to be Chicky that's in charge of Manchester City through the January transfer window, and also once we get into the summer, Chicky's going to be getting the ball rolling through May and June for Manchester City before Hugo Viana will take over. I imagine Viana is going to have an input on transfers, not just for next summer, but I imagine he'll probably be notified of what is happening at Manchester City as of right now, because if that's where your future employment's going to be, you are going to take an interest. Anyway, moving on, let's speak about some players who have been linked with a move to Manchester City. Firstly, a new name, quite interesting, it comes in the form of Sepp Van Den Berg over at Brentford, the former Liverpool man. Apparently, he is of interest to Manchester City, according to Steve Kay. Not the most reliable of sources, but what he was saying does make sense, and I found it quite interesting, so I thought, do you know what? I'll speak about it in the transfer update. So, Sepp Van Den Berg is a defender, can play at centre-back, can also help cover at right-back as well. 22 years old. He reminds me a lot of someone like Manuel Akanji, only younger. And Manchester City, if we had an injury to Akanji, as we've already seen this season, don't have too many options. So bringing somebody in who's 22 years old who can help to fill that void would make sense. Well, apparently Pep Guardiola's interested and likes Sepp Van Den Berg, and he would be of interest to Manchester City. Brentford are unlikely to want to sell their player, and any move that would be made, he's not interested in a move in January, by the way, it would be a summer move, and I'm fairly sure that Brentford had spent, if not more than £20 million on Sepp Van Den Berg only last summer, so I can't imagine that Brentford would want to sell for cheap. I imagine that Manchester City, rather than thinking about the first team squad here, are going to be thinking about having options in their squad. How much are you prepared to spend on a squad player? If Brentford have already spent north of £20 million on a player, they're probably going to want to double the money. You're probably looking at like £40-50 million here for a player, which to me, for a squad rotated option, is a tad expensive. But if we're wanting to bring the overall age of the squad down, Manchester City may have to bite the bullet. And we're getting to a point here where Manchester City, we need a big summer. We're needing 5, 6 players to be brought in. You need them options. You need them young players. So I wouldn't rule out right now Manchester City potentially spending £200 to £300 million in the summer. They have the transfer kitty. They make the profits. They have the money to do so if they want to go and do so. So I certainly think that's an option. We'll see. To me, I think Manchester City, we lose Kevin De Bruyne. What ginger players have we got left? We've got nobody else. Bring Sepp Van Den Berg in. We need to be represented as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, let's move on to the final transfer. Let's speak about Jeremie Frimpong, because Steve Kay has also been speaking about him and says that the Bayer Leverkusen player, former Manchester City man, remains on Manchester City's radar heading into the summer transfer window. Now, Manchester City could be having a good look at options on the right-hand side in the summer of 2025. Once more, we've got question marks about Kyle Walker. What is the position that we see for Rico Lewis? Where do we want him to play? Manchester City, in terms of looking at options on the right-hand side, if Bernardo Silva ends up leaving, you've got Savinho that can play on the right wing. You've got, obviously, Phil Foden that could play on the right wing along with Jeremy Doku. However, if you wanted to use these players through the middle or on the left, like in the case of Doku, then the squad's looking, again, quite stretched. And because Frimpong's quite versatile, offers something a little bit different to Manchester City, because he's not a traditional right-back. He's not going to be the right side of centre-back. On the right side of centre-back, to me, someone like Van Den Berg would make more sense than Frimpong. But if Man City are looking for an offensive option on that right-hand side, then someone like Frimpong would make a lot of sense. If you can tighten the defence up, then you're giving him more attacking freedom. And if we're looking for high-quality attacking players who can go up and down that right wing, then Jeremie Frimpong would be, in my opinion anyway, a really good option for Manchester City. I do think you have to be careful, though, because we have dipped down this avenue before of former young players at City coming back to us who were able to offer something a little bit different and it not quite working. We did that with Angelino, of course, but we managed to get him for an affordable price back to the club, whereas with someone like Jeremie Frimpong, I think he'd be a very expensive transfer. So it has to be an option that would make a lot of sense for Manchester City. I found it interesting, and I want to know your thoughts, guys. Frimpong, yay or nay? Do we make a move? If we do, how do we make it work? How much would we be willing to pay? I know there was an option last summer for a release clause believed to be £34 million. Quite affordable. I don't know if that's still in place for this summer. We'll have to wait and see. I imagine if Leverkusen are going to sell Frimpong, we won't be the only club interested. So, very interesting. I'd love to know your thoughts of that, guys, in the comments below. Remember, as we head into the January transfer window, Manchester City, I imagine, will be interested in adding a central midfielder who can help cover in defensive midfield. Maybe we might look at a second option to Erling Haaland, a backup striker. We'll wait to see what the recovery time is with Oscar Bob as to whether we need to do that or not. That remains to be seen. So there we go. That has been today's transfer update. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. 200 likes is the aim. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Remember, daily Manchester City transfer updates here on YouTube from January 1st throughout the whole January transfer window to keep you guys up to date in what I'm expecting to be a busy transfer window for Manchester City. You don't want to miss a thing. So make sure you have subscribed. It is free. Social media links, they're in the description too if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. And finally, do go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by Football Prizes. Remember, you can go and check out that awesome prize. It is a Phil Foden signed Manchester City shirt with 15 instant prizes to be won, including that of a signed Manchester City shirt from Ruben Diaz and that signed framed Manchester City shirt of Savinho, plus much more to be won as well. Do go and check it out. Links and details there in the description. It's £3.95 per ticket, 225 tickets available, and the competition ends on Friday 15th of November at 7:30 PM GMT. Thank you Football Prizes for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you all again real soon. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.